Hello, Mechwarriors, and welcome to the Mechbay, where we fix your mech and fix your game. What's going on, Mechwarriors? I'm your host, Josh. I've got my co-host, Lore Master Denim.
Howdy, howdy.
And Steve, the only man that left Maryland with more crabs than he came with me today.
Oh, yeah. Did you know that TSA doesn't really understand why crabs were in my carry-on? They didn't ask any questions.
They didn't want to know, Steve. They didn't want to know.
I have that look about me.
And we are the Mechbay Podcast, your number one source for all things casual to competitive tabletop BattleTech. And today's episode is sponsored by... He's from the future. He's here to find John Connor. That's right. It's Terminator 44. And also, we got some new cadets that we're totally not hazing in Bay 6. First, we got Mike June Song Smola. He's riding in a Catapult C1.
Nice.
We got Cadet Kevin Bowman and Cadet Eric Mater. So, welcome. And remember, the Tragozoid is just as afraid of you as you are of it.
That's a lie. That's a lie.
Very much so. Boys, welcome back.
It's been a minute.
Yeah.
It has.
Yeah. Guys, why has it been so long since we recorded last?
Oh, don't ask. Trauma, family trauma.
Save that for an after dark.
That's right.
Yeah. Steve, how many times did your power go out on recording nights this month?
At least twice. Twice. There was a big to-do, and the city is now suing the power company. It's kind of an issue. There's a little bit of liability going on around there, but we didn't have power for like 4 days, and it was, I don't know, 85 at the coolest. It was hot. It was really, really hot. So we had lots of fun hanging out in the kiddie pool in the backyard, trying to stay cool.
Nice.
And then you got power and you lost it again.
Oh my God. We lost it like 4 days later. It came back on after an hour and a half, but it was still too late to record, and I was furious. And then I went on vacation.
So everyone can blame Steve for this one, folks.
I've been doing that a lot recently.
Yeah. You're bringing the vibe down, man. Come on. Be better.
I'm doing my best.
Yeah. That's why I'm... be better. But no, good to have you and Denim back. I'm like, Denim. No, Denim's doing great. He got nothing.
I am here.
Yeah. Well, boys, it's the episode we've been trying to do for a month, roughly. We're talking BattleTech core rules.
Woohoo.
Because we were so gracious to get a early review copy from the company to talk about. And here we are. We've been diving in, some of us more than others.
Yeah.
There's a lot to go through here. It's a big book.
I have read it cover to cover, as my title forces me to do. So I'm prepared.
And we'll talk about that. So tonight, we are only going to be talking about the core changes. So that's our initial thoughts, our things in like the phases of the game. We're not talking about any equipment or technology or weapons tonight.
Oh, yeah. This book is giving us multiple episodes of the podcast for sure. So the highest level overview for today.
Yeah, we just don't have time to sit down and go over every change, what we think about it, how it's going to be implemented on the table. It's too much stuff to cover in 1 2-hour sitting. So
I'm super excited about diving into it later for sure.
100%.
But we will get to it. So don't worry. If you don't hear the thing you're excited about this time, you'll hear it about another time.
Yep.
Because, we totally got through all of Total Warfare in the last 5 years, right, guys?
This is such a better book, though.
It's true. So, yeah. So we'll just hop right into news. The core rules for BattleTech is scheduled to hit retailers like Fortress Miniatures and Games roughly end of September. So there'll be copies at Gen Con, and like we all knew later, everyone else will get it. How are we feeling about that?
Oh, I mean, the sooner the better. Like, I want people to have this now. So
Yeah. I was hoping, I was a little bit disappointed to hear end of September. I was hoping more near early September, like a week or two after Gen Con. So that way people don't feel obligated to fly across the country and knock 4 people to death in the parking lot to get to the front of the line to get a copy.
Yeah.
But I know they will have some copies at Gen Con. But
not enough. Never enough.
No, it's never enough. It's never enough. But in other news, I believe, if I've heard correctly, that Ace's Snowblind is supposed to drop end of November, just in time for Black Friday.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. First I heard of this.
That one's been going on. I just opened my box of regular Aces
it's
last
such
month.
Good. Yeah, it's good though. But yeah, it's like I've had so much new BattleTech stuff come out. So that one, I have opened up the box. I have read through it. I have not played any of the new Aces stuff.
The system works very well. The card system works very well. I'd encourage you to give it a shot. It's a lot of fun.
I'm excited. Yeah.
So hopefully that comes out. It's a little later than we were anticipating and hoping for. But I mean, it makes sense that Black Friday's got to be the last day they can push it to, because otherwise they're going to miss out on all those Christmas sales. So they just got to get it out.
In other side news, if you want to rock some Mechbay swag, you can check out our Spreadshirt shop in the link in the description of the show notes for this episode. Just click the show more description. Boom. There's your link. Buy a shirt, stickers, other swag. Yeah. Maybe you can rock that at, I don't know. Maybe there's this upcoming event, Steve, that, all 3 hosts will be at.
Which one is that, Josh?
I don't know. Probably Southern Assault 6.
Hey, you could get a free selfie with any of us if you show up wearing a shirt.
That's true.
Any shirt.
Yeah.
Preferably a Mechbay shirt, but I would prefer it if you wore a shirt, please.
Yeah. You got to pay extra to have no shirt. And even extra for us to not have a shirt.
But you can pay. But no. All right. Well, I think that's it for news right now. We're going to keep the coolant flush portion of this episode a little light tonight.
Yeah.
Because we got a lot of meat to talk about. So that was news. Let's do some hobby progress. All right. We'll start off. I bought some mechs from Fortress Miniatures Games literally today because I have a problem. And that problem is BattleTech. And that's why I don't run this podcast. I didn't do anything crazy, guys. I may have gotten, I don't know, Viking 2C.
Nice.
Yeah, totally. Grim Reaper, Ion Sparrow.
I'm waiting for the Viking 2C to come out in plastic.
See, I'm going to be using this one as a regular Viking for my Comstar.
Okay.
So I saved this for mechs. I wanted to wait until core, and I've got my perfect 3060s Comstar, and it's it needs the Viking. So
I mean, we're getting to that later, but I agree. So many mechs I've just overlooked. I am super excited about taking now that with the core changes. Super excited.
Changes the game, resets the
the meta
resets all the tier list. Again. We say that, and then it'll be the same. I don't know, but combine this with BV changes in the future,
right?
Soon, TM.
Yeah. So anyways, I bought them, and I think the last one was a Hawk Wolf, that pirate LRM MML boat. And I was like, that's perfect.
I think the Hawk Wolf. Because I think the Hawk Moth is a VTOL.
Yeah, that sounds right. Too many hawks, too many wolves, too many moths.
A lot.
Yeah, it's too many.
If I had a nickel for every hawk or wolf or moth mech, I would have a handful. Welts all over from Steve.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's my purchase hobby progress. I have actually been basing my Comstar mechs that I'm taking to the tournament next week at the Atomic Empire tournament. And I'm also repainting my Comstar Mongoose. So I think this will be the 3rd time that I repaint this Mongoose Gunslinger. And it's literally just because the way the metal is, it just doesn't look great in white. And I did my best. It's still not great, but it's not bad this time. And I think I can accept it. So
3rd time's a charm, I guess.
Yeah. It's the 3rd time for this Mongoose, Steve. I have multiple other mongoose.
That's a you problem, Josh.
To be fair, it's one of the first mechs I got before we had any plastic. So I'm okay with, painting it until it's perfect. But yeah, that's it for my
paint it
hobby
enough
progress.
times, it's just going to look like a snowman, and then it will be perfect.
That would be better. But I think I did a good job on dry brushing and hitting it with the right highlights. Like the last time there was too much black metal, like where essentially I painted it too much top down. So if you looked at it from the directly side, it'd just be black with like white lines for each panel. This one's a little more gradient. Like, okay, you actually have to tilt it over, and looking at it from the bottom, it's just gray instead of black. I was like, that's better.
Good.
So
Good.
yeah. And that Gunslinger one is technically legal in core. Yeah, because it's got 2 stealth systems
So
that were
happy.
added.
So happy.
Yeah, I know, right? And I was like, oh man, I need to get this ready. That's it for my hobby progress. We're not gonna dwell there for me. Steve.
I got quite a bit actually, which is surprising considering I've been riding that line of burnout. I've been struggling with some BattleTech stuff, just getting the motivation to paint and do things. So the fact that I got as much done as I have is pretty good. I know that somewhere along the way the rules changed and gifts don't count as hobby progress.
They don't.
But I do have to mention that my children got me a Great F Legion box for Father's Day.
Hey, that Catapult K2, one of my favorites.
It's awesome. It's awesome. I'm glad we finally got a model for that. I did also buy 2 sets of the Elysian Lancers box because I just love the way Ostmechs look and I needed more of them.
Nice.
So I got 2 boxes of those. And I did finish painting about baker's dozen, maybe 14 of the Canopans I was working on. That I started
the yellow ones?
Yeah, the bright yellow ones.
That counts as double. Okay, that's 24 mechs that you've painted.
Maybe. It was a huge pain. I really do have to give a shout out to Dave for his help on the process and getting it to. I made a couple of deviations to the recipe, but the base and the bones were good, and I think they look pretty solid. And I took those to Battle for the Bay, which was not that long ago, and we'll talk about in an upcoming episode soon. But the Canopans did okay for me. So
that's good.
Nice.
I saw you did bring home a trophy, so I'm proud of you, Steve.
Spoilers, Josh. Spoilers for the listeners.
It's on the Discord.
But I mean, it's one of those things. I don't like doing new recipes for painting. I find it incredibly stressful because I don't have a ton of time to hobby. And when I do get time to hobby, I want to make sure I'm making, forward progress. Right. And when I sit around and I goof around with this paint scheme or this technique and it turns out poorly, I have a hard time looking at it from the lens of, well, I learned something that didn't work. That's progress. Instead, I have a tendency to view it as you wasted 2 hours of time, go start over. And that is incredibly frustrating. And I should be looking at it from the lens of, I found out something that didn't work. That's great. Try something new. But I just don't have enough luxury time to afford to waste it. So
Steve is already the man in the Twilight Zone who's, all the time in the world and breaks his glasses, except has fully repaired glasses, but no time.
Time at Last is the name of that episode, and that is a tearjerker.
It's one of the best.
It's one of the best. But no, I mean, so like I said, I find it stressful, but when you do finally get that recipe down and you note it in your notebook so you can remember it for later, the way these yellows are done, it's actually not that bad, and I could probably crank a couple out in short order. So, we're learning, we're doing, we got it down. I'm happy with them. And we'll see if I need to paint more. I mean, I don't have any plans to paint more Canopans in the near future, but who knows?
Yeah.
Then what about you?
For BattleTech progress, I bought the 21st Centauri Lancers box. It's the one with the Jade Hawk in it. It's good. I mean, I like it. I'm looking forward to using them. And then I also printed and painted a full set of templates for the new Gaslands 3.0 playtest.
Oh, that looks so good.
Yeah.
That looks so good. I'm excited for that.
Which I could talk about on here because my Gaslands games happen on Solaris, so it's still in universe. It's okay. Still talk to BattleTech.
Now, Denim, I do want to mention something. You got the 21st Century box that has the plastic Jade Hawk.
It does.
I don't have one.
Well,
which is surprising because I have a lot of Jade Falcon mechs, but because I have it already painted in metal, I didn't feel it necessary to go get a plastic one.
Feel free to challenge me in a trial of possession for that. That would be a fun event.
I will probably lose, but I will try.
All right. And then if you do win, I'll just go buy another box. It's okay.
All right. Do we want to move on to some games played?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, I'll kick it off with some Josh versus Thiel local. This was technically a Draconis Reach game where we were like playtesting, practicing. I wanted to use the new core rules, see how that new rule set worked with Draconis Reach, because this would be my first Draconis Reach like full game. So I'm taking I want to say Kintaro C and the Exterminator 6CS. Again, I can take it now in core because it's got Chameleon Light Polarization and Null Sig.
Yeah,
so
totally legal.
I'm like, this is a Comstar experimental mech. I can finally run it after all these years. So I do that. We'll talk about it. And Thiel's got his Clint in his quick draw. And
yay, Clint, right, Steve?
Yay.
How many hours have you played as a Clint, Steve?
4
hours.
I ran out of ammo in the first 45 minutes because it only had 10 rounds in that stupid thing, and I'm running around with a medium laser. God. And then I lost a leg.
All right. We'll have an after dark about this.
I'm a Clint therapist, but
PTSD is back.
So anyways, we decided to do the Jewel heist mission because it's one of the recommended ones for that. And we encountered some problems playing with the new core rules and Draconis Reach rules, but also the way that mission was written. And we determined we did it wrong because you're supposed to just go up and grab jewels out of the, like, it's objective raid, but instead of buildings, it is hovercraft. But instead of hovercraft, or instead of wiggies, they're hover vedettes. And I was like, that's too many errata level corrections for the intro mission. Like, so we probably spent an hour and a half just trying to decipher what the missions wanted us to do, and then another half playing. It was not fun. Game one was not able to use any of the stealth systems on the Exterminator because I rolled the complication where my non-jumping forces are delayed a turn.
Oh no.
So I'm coming on turn 2. He's had an entire turn to move his guys off. And it's like, great, we're already in like shortish medium range. And then the complication that he rolled was +1 to hit for all energy weapons. I was like, great. Unlike Hinterlands, we're not starting with gunnery upgrades. So we are missing a lot. So first mission, I was able to kill 2 of the not hovercraft, not wiggies, vedette objectives, and then we determined that we're not even supposed to kill them. You're supposed to grab them things out of it. So that was a rough. And then the second mission, it's the same month, so no repairs. And so we roll on, and I died very, very quickly. So did I have fun? I'm not going to say that mission was about me having fun. Mission was about me learning Draconis Reach and core rules. So it was a game.
Success.
Yeah, success. Many things were learned. That the Jewel heist mission, you need to read that one completely before you even like start setting it up. So
I'm going to be honest though, if I was going to play one that had that many issues come up, Thiel is the person I'd want to be playing against.
Yeah, and that was great. Like, there's no one else I would have rather played that level of frustration. And even during the game, I was like, I had to say it. Thiel, I'm not frustrated at you. I'm frustrated that I'm having to go read the book and then find the errata and then find the page number to go to it and then use that to go to the track page. And I was like, there's too much bouncing around for the recommended intro mission. So I will say the highlights for that is he was able to kick Mike Kintaro's face off with the Clint. He was able to get that level 1 difference, roll the kick my face off. He had already shot it with like a medium laser, so boom, the Clint had enough damage to cleanly chop the head off. I failed the skin of the teeth. My pilots just did.
That is the most effective thing a Clint has ever done in the history of Clints ever.
Yeah. The Exterminator technically got brutalized in the first mission, like had lost an arm, had done all that. Thankfully, he had an MML and 2 medium pulse lasers that were like center torso and head, so it was actually like very good for still dishing out damage but not dying. But like I said, taking it for the stealth systems and never getting to use them was not fun. Like I was like, I'm being punished for playing on 1 match sheet and for coming on turn 2 because I don't have jump jets. I was like, ugh. So,
well, missions are not fair.
No, and they're not. But this did give me a lot of insight because now I have set up the Triangle local Draconis Reach Mercenary League. Scott from Scott's Game Room, he set up the last Hinterlands one, and he was like, I'm too busy, and he threw it to the wind, and I was like, cool, I can do that. I can take essentially all the same things you did and run that. So if you're local to the Triangle and you want to get some Draconis Reach games in, we'll be playing it until the core rulebook drops, and then we'll reset and have a core rulebox Mercenary League. So have fun, everyone. Steve.
I will save my BattleTech games for the next episode because I went to Battle for the Bay, but I did play an awful lot of Blackout, which is great.
Steve.
I did some learning games, and then I went to Maryland and I met up with Danny, and Danny wasn't playing in the tournament. So I said, all right, Danny, like I want to play with you. So we went to the hotel room and we played about 4 games of Blackout, and it was great. We had a lot of fun, and I felt kind of bad because I brutalized Danny kind of a lot. It was a little bit unfair, mostly because he just kept standing in the open and getting shot. But it was fun. It's a fun game. I'm enjoying it, and it's a nice change of pace, and it was nice to hang out and listen to, find a listener for the podcast and play a couple games with them. So Danny, thank you. I had fun. Denim?
I'll talk about the grinder that we had over the weekend, because we had Brian Young and Jason Hansa come out to Hangar 18 to sign books. And so we ran several grinders. And at my table, I had a guy come up who said that his only experience playing BattleTech was the clicky tech stuff, but he's really been interested in Classic. Well, the game had already been going, so people had already gone up a couple tiers. We had some red and gray tier mechs out there. So he rolled up a purple mech, and it was a little wasp. And I was looking at the map, and I'm like, okay, I know I just explained all the rules to you and how it works. Do you want to have fun with your little purple mech? Because they're expendable. You're only supposed to be out there long enough to get it blown up. Like, you want to be aggressive in a grinder. So he's like, sure, what do you want me to do? And I'm like, well, see that hill? I want you to walk all the way up that hill, like to up to the level 2 spot, and then turn to the left. And he's like, but there's an archer up there. I'm like, yes, there is, because there was a big archer standing on this level 3 spot, just pouring down missiles on everybody. I'm like, we're going to walk to the top of the hill next to the archer, and you're going to fire everything but your arm-mounted weapons. He's like, but my arm-mounted weapon is the big one. I'm like, it's okay. Just trust me. So he fires. I mean, he hit a couple things. He does like 3 points. He's got small lasers. And then a mech fired back at him. He got some armor stripped, but he survived and he didn't fall down. And I'm like, this is great. It's like, because you have a piloting of 1, because, you know, the grinders and give those guys like,
piloting 1.
So I'm like, now we've got this giant archer up on this hill, and you're going to push him. He's like, well, what is that going to do? I'm like, I don't know. The archer might fall down. Who knows? The important part is right behind that archer is a Wolverine, and behind him is the edge of the map. So he pushed the archer, who then toppled into the Wolverine, who then failed the domino check, and who got pushed off the map. And I'm like, congratulations, achievement. You just killed a mech with another mech. Like, as far as your first kill goes, he's like, that was amazing.
You got him now.
And yeah, he was hooked completely hooked for the rest of the game. He got 2 other kills, which was fantastic.
That's
But I
pretty
taught
good.
we had mechs losing torsos, so I showed him that he could pick up arms like a club and go bash things. Like, we just had fun with that mech, and he lost the wasp pretty fast. But then he came in as the Wolverine that he had already killed, and he just had a blast. But to do a domino effect for your first time ever playing, and it just worked out. It worked out really well. It was great. I love grinders for that. The stories are fantastic, and we'll be talking about that one for a while. So congratulations, Will. Hope to see you around again.
Yeah, that was real cool. It's always cool when your first game experience can have like fun, action packed. Like, I'm doing something. So.
I 100%. Told him this story of Steve in his one-legged clinic for 4 hours when I'm like, this is the other way it could have gone.
Yeah, which is not great. And I tried so hard with that thing. I ran it at people and no one would shoot me.
Yeah. Good times. But yeah, that was it for me for fun stories.
Well, I appreciate you sharing both with him and with us.
Of course.
All right. I know we've got, of course, the big one, the big upcoming event, which we briefly mentioned, Southern Assault. Friday, November 6th, you've got Crabback, the charity game. 7th and 8th, Alpha Strike. And November 9th, Monday, you've got Southern Assault Classic one day. Guess what, guys? That's just like the tournaments. There's so much other stuff to do. We'll talk about that way more next time, about everything coming out on Southern Assault, because it's going to be essentially the biggest one again this year.
I think it's also Tuesday. I think it's also the 10th. It might be 5 days.
I always forget that Tuesday's just like, if you wanted to hang out and like just relax and decompress after all the events, you can.
I think he's got other stuff planned too. There are other games that are supposed to be there.
Well, we will go over that for sure.
Yeah, later.
But essentially, the signups have just been announced. So if you were thinking, you should do it. We'll be there. All right, let's take a quick pause, and then we'll get into the game has changed. Core. I have one question for you. Are you ready? Are you ready for this Sunday night when Solaris champion Matt Balcombe defends his title in the Solaris Super Slam? Say goodbye to anyone standing in Matt Balcombe's way. We take some 6 mechs in a steel stadium, shoots and ladders match in the Solaris Super Slam as Matt Balcombe fights his way to the top in his Battle Master. Right now, you can own this awesome pay-per-view holo disc for just $59.99. Call now and receive not 1, but 2 extra holo discs of Matt Balcombe's rise to the top and highlights in the arena. All right, we are back. Diving into the core, like the core movie where they drilled into the center of the earth and have to you didn't like the core? Nobody likes the core.
No.
Nobody likes the core. That's a trick question.
This book is so much better than that movie.
Yeah.
The book
really
is better than the movie in so many ways.
You don't like unobtainium and lasers that melt through everything except unobtainium that are powered by pressure? Steve's just smiling. So we're going to move on. Let's talk about our initial thoughts for BattleTech core rulebook. Like, it's in our hands. It's one of us has it in their hands. The rest of it have it in fancy PDF digital files. How do we feel just about it? Like, flipping through it, scrolling through it. Good, bad. Like, we just got Draconis Reach. We just got Hinterlands. Like, we have the BMM. How does this rank in relation to all those?
It doesn't compare. This is on a completely different level than any other book that I've gotten from Catalyst. This book is, it's well laid out. It is well edited. The information, the headings are easily searchable, right? If I'm looking on a page for physical attacks, it has it right there. There's a paragraph for displacement, a paragraph for, split location weapons and multiple physical attacks, and it's all easily locatable. If you compare this to Total Warfare, you're flipping between 7 or 8 pages, looking in the index, trying to find things. It's a mess. It reads more. I mean, I think I mentioned this before. Total Warfare is a fine book, and it contains 90% of the information you're going to need to play a game of BattleTech with all sorts of different technology. But the problem is when you look at something like racks, right? It doesn't have all the rules for racks in the rack section. You have to look at, what do they call it? Like multi-fire autocanisters. There's some other designation they have for, it's like DB or something on the record sheet.
Rapid fire. It's called rapid fire.
Yeah. But it says, oh, this gun shoots multiple things. Like, okay, great. But it doesn't have the rapid fire jam rules. That's in a different section. Why is that not contained in the section for racks? It should be in the same spot. The BattleTech core rulebook has a lot of that stuff built in. Yes, it's a little bit redundant in certain places, but all the information is where you need it to be. And it's laid out in such a way that if you're reading a section, it talks about these are some base things. And then later when it references, things that may use those base things, you only have to turn back one page to find what you're looking for. It is so well laid out. I cannot stress that enough.
Okay. So
things.
Total Warfare, which by the way has gone through 11 revisions. Why is the index not in the back of the book? It does. Total Warfare has an index, but you have to find it. You have to go up like more than a dozen pages before you can find the index. Like, that's a bad place for it. The index you open up the back cover. There's the index. That's what you need.
You would think.
So they fixed that in the core rulebook. And so many things, like you were saying, even the ones that do have multiple pages or different pages, the page reference is right there, like right there. As you're reading, right next to it, it's like blah, 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 page 60, so it's
you can go
so
find it.
Easy.
You can just go find it. It's a usable book. The book is usable. It's also got way more diagrams and examples in it.
Yeah.
So if it gives you a rule, this is how. So perfect example, you go to page 58. One of the things that always screws me up was cover and line of sight, right? I had a hard time visualizing which sets of trees counted, which ones didn't, what levels of terrain next to it, block line of sight, which ones didn't. It's got a 6-panel diagram of different scenarios for woods, levels, whether woods do apply, don't apply, what blocks line of sight, what doesn't block line of sight. It's got so much more like, how do I use this information in the book, which is phenomenal. I love that.
You know what I like?
The art.
I like that it doesn't have... The art's great. It's all new, modern art, essentially. What I love, though, is it doesn't have like 6 pages of short story text in between each section.
Yeah, it's got little tiny blurbs, but they're informative blurbs. This book is condensed, and they've needed this. They've needed this.
This is a book that was designed to be a rule book.
Yes,
that will stay a rule book. It's not meant like there is stuff to here's the universe, all that, but it's not. Here's the short story about aerospace fighters in the aerospace.
And
section.
I love short stories, but not in my core rule book.
Yeah.
Did we mention the editing? Because it's so tight. There are no double words, no silly stuff. I found one typo, and it's not even a typo. It is a double capitalization in the word air. It is capital A, capital I, lowercase r, and that's the only typo that I found so far. And it's talking
Someone was making sure no AI in this.
Right. But no, it's legible, it's readable. There's very little ambiguity. There's a little bit of ambiguity, which we can talk about later about Rhodes. And it's just the way something is phrased. I don't think that it's actually on any real Catalyst map.
Right. Are you talking about how it seems that Rhodes will allow infinite level changes?
Yes, that's the one. There's a little bit of ambiguity in that language. But if that's the only thing in this book,
yeah, we'd have to make a custom map to take advantage of that if that is what they meant. So I'm like, I just don't have perfect knowledge of the,
So I'll do it very briefly. There's a rule about changing levels on roads that states that it costs 1 less, but you can make level changes on roads if they're adjacent, if you're staying on the road and only on the road. And the example is, it doesn't have an example, but the question is, if the road goes from road level 0 to road level 5, it's a very steep ramp. Can I do that for free? And the answer is probably no, but it doesn't say in the book. So we can get into that a little bit more later if we want to touch on that.
But super minor. Like that's never going to happen unless you're on a custom map. It's super minor.
Yeah. But the rest of this is it's really tight. I think it's well written, and I find it immensely more approachable than Total Warfare, which I'm thrilled about. This is a lot of things I wanted to see.
So kudos to the editor.
It's Aron. Aron Kahal did that.
Yes, he
so
is.
Kudos, Aron. Thank you. You did a great job.
Good. So good. He deserves a raise. Like, not even sarcastically.
No, this is great.
This is a rule book I'm going to be proud to own, like physically.
I'm happy that the first edition of it is so good. Like, it's just good. It's
well,
just good.
Given, not to poke fun at anybody, but like the last couple of books that have come out have had day one errata, right?
I mean, we just talked about my issue with Draconis Reach. I was like, I had to stop because it referenced a unit that wasn't in that like book at all, and I have to go, and it's like the errata says to swap it out with this other thing, and I was like, why? Like this is a big change to the both mission, the unit, and the whole way it plays.
I mean, we also talked about the hinterland stuff and the games, interswapping attacker and defender edges. There's just typos and issues all through that first draft of the Hinterlands book. So coming off of two books that had some pretty frustrating, game-breaking almost problems,
yeah,
to have a book like this that was really well edited, taken a lot of care and time, which they should have done. This is the new core rule book. I would think you'd give this a little bit more attention than, maybe a Hotspots book, but it's a breath of fresh air to me. I'm not going to lie, I was beginning to get frustrated in some of the quality of the product that had been coming out.
Yeah. So
super happy.
So we're starting at a good level, just initially.
First impressions, very nice.
Yes. First impression is I can show this to other hobby, war gamers and be like, this is the rule book. You're going to actually use this like
every game.
Regularly. Yeah, every game essentially until you memorize it. So, do we want to move through the phases in that way, going over the highlighted rules changes for each one?
That's probably one of the better ways to tackle this.
Steve's like, that's better than the way I was going to suggest.
I was just going to talk about whatever jumped in my head.
All right. Well, I think we can start it off with initiative because, well, we all wanted to know.
Yeah, this was actually important to me because there were multiple different initiative ways. I didn't care which one they picked. I just wanted an official one that I could point to. And luckily, they happened to pick the one that I liked the best.
Yeah, I was a little different. I did have a preference, and I'm glad that they selected this one. I think this is probably the better of the front-loaded initiative methods to use. And I do like that they included a couple optional rules in this section, not a ton. It wasn't like, here are 500 optional ways to do this. It's like, no, here's how we recommend it, and here's like one of the other popular ways you could do it if you wanted. Right?
By design, this book has very few, not none, but very few optional rules because it is supposed to be the baseline. It is supposed to be the core, and they will introduce a lot of things as optional rules in supplemental books. Therefore, if there's a rule that you think should have an optional rule, it might just in a supplement book. They wanted specifically to have a book that was, your core experience, hence the title core. So I am very happy to see that there are, in fact, very, very few optional rules presented in here.
Yeah. Yeah. And the front-loaded initiative method that they ended up going with is it is effectively the reversed normal rules, where instead of doing 2 at the end, you do 2 at the front. Yep. It's not the one where you move every unit until you're equal and then go 1-to-1. It is move 2, 1, 2, 1.
And they have lots of examples, like lots of and diagrams. So it's good. They did.
Yeah, they do a nice job. And they tell you how to use you can like draw boxes and then you find out how many you're supposed to use, et cetera, et cetera. Yep. So
they spent some time thinking about how they would describe this rather than roll for initiative. Do it.
Figure it out. And then once you figured it out, let's play.
All right. This is a big one. Initiative die It's a thing. It's also optional.
Right.
What is it? That
Right.
is the homebrew rule where the person who loses initiative gets to essentially add one to the next time they roll initiative. So if you lose 2 initiatives in a row, on the next time you roll initiative, you add 2 to that roll.
Yep. So it is cumulative. So it's +1, cumulative +1 for every time you lose initiative in a row. And of course, when you win initiative, it resets.
Yeah. I don't normally play with this rule, but I appreciate that they put it in there because this is one of the more common optional rules I see discussed. And I don't think it's game breaking. It just helps minimize some of the swinginess of, I lost initiative 4 times in a row.
I have lost a tournament because of that. Because of initiative.
Because of this rule?
No, because I have lost initiative 6 times in a row.
Yeah.
It happens. And this would
No
help.
one loses initiative more than me at tournaments. I did track this for my game against Thiel. It would not have helped me.
Yeah, that's fine.
If you're going to lose, you're going to lose. Yeah. But it feels nice that there's a little bit of a rubber band effect. Like, okay, I'm probably going to win now. It's +11.
What I will say about initiative in this game, right, and why this die is kind of nice, is I sometimes compare BattleTech to chess.
Yep.
Right. And I feel like when you keep losing initiative, it's like playing black in chess. You play much more reactionary, right? Because you don't get to necessarily control when you've lost initiative. Now, what that does do is sometimes that will force you to learn how to move better and play better because you're on the back foot sometimes. But it is frustrating to never get the jump on somebody, you know?
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Initiative die. Cool. It's optional. I accept that. Like, if you don't love it, don't use it.
Try it out, though. Try it out and see what you think.
Yeah. All right, here's the big one. This was very contentious in the playtest. Immobile units can no longer be selected for anything, really.
Yep.
Movement-wise or combat-wise. Like, they just are a thing. I put this in the initiative section because that's when we think about it. Like, this is when I select that, and this is when I select. And it's like, if it's immobile, it doesn't get selected.
Doesn't count.
Yep.
Doesn't count.
It doesn't. And I like that better than it was before. Like I was the one who pointed out because people thought that it went this way. And I'd be like, well, the rule book actually says this, and it surprised them. And I'm like, well, that's how the rules are. So we got to play it that way. I am very happy now that I can recant all of that.
No more cheesing with your like 6 units that are legged unconscious on the ground.
Yep.
It's like, nope, that's not.
Initiative sync everything. Go.
Yeah. The more ways we kill initiative syncs, the better the health of the game is overall. So, is it going to change the ways a lot of people play? I say yeah. Not like in a major way, but there's probably some people that were like, no, I liked being able to sync my
of course
unconscious guy. Yeah, exactly.
But it shouldn't be that way, and I'm glad that it isn't anymore. So
I mean, I'm not saying I disagree with you, but I will say that there is an argument to be made. If you've already got 2 immobilized units, you're probably in a bad board state as it is.
Yep.
Therefore,
bad luck.
Being forced to then actually move something is, I'm not saying it's a kick in the teeth. I mean, just sometimes you just got to do it. But that was one minor benefit of like, okay, I've got this immobile unit. I got this knocked out pilot. Like, all right, I guess I'll kind of sink him and I'll get a little bit of information on the battlefield to move my last guy alive. So if you lose that, that's kind of a little bit of a bummer. But overall, I agree with you that I think it's probably better for the game that you can't do that.
Yeah.
Well, those were the ones I was able to notice in the initiative section. Steve or Denham, were you able to find anything else that we really need to discuss for initiative?
No, and again, this is going to be a super, super high level, so we will go all over all of this in much greater detail. But those were the main things.
I didn't want to do like there's the initiative episode, here's the movement episode.
I think we could do that though.
We could. I did not want to do that. Some people got to read out there. I know the MRC folks, they ain't going to do it, but some people got to. All right, let's talk about some movement and how that's changing in core. All right, here's the big one that I have to get it out now. Pilot hits, that are made in the movement phase. So like if you're walking and you fall down, like if something happens, like it happens how it is now, because like that has not changed. Right. If you fall down, you do your pilot hit when you fall down.
Right then, correct.
Yes. I have to state this because pilot hits change in combat phase.
They do.
That a lot of people had questions. They were like, if it's changing in combat phase, how is it going to work in movement?
Yeah.
It's staying the same as it is. So this isn't a change, but I'm going to state it that it doesn't change.
I mean, seatbelt checks change, and that accounts for here too.
Yes.
But yeah.
The way that it happens changes, but the sequence of it.
The sequence, correct. Yep.
And that's important to know because, okay, if I fall down 3 times kind of thing, then I take 3 seatbelt checks.
Yep.
The way I do those seatbelt checks is different, but I still make 3 seatbelt checks in movement. All right, next one. That was a non-change, but I needed to get it out there first. Back to immobile units. Immobile units, they're defined as immobile based on damage. So if you were reduced to 0 MP in all movement forms by damage, you were considered as immobile.
And what you mean by that is if you have a mech that can't move, it has a 0 movement, but it has 3 jump jets, it is not immobile. Even if you don't jump out of that hex, you don't have to jump. You just have to have the jump jets because you can, I guess, use them to skirt around in your 30-meter hex. If you have jump jets that work, you are not considered immobile.
But
that and heat of phase.
Yeah, I was going to say the operative word here is by damage.
Yeah.
It's immobile movement modes by damage. And what that means is you got to have the leg crits or things got to be blown off. You can't just get real hot and your movement drop down and then you're immobile. No, you're just really hot.
Yep.
You got to have stuff broken and busted for you to be immobile. So that's a little bit of a change.
And it's always a good assumption that you just assume the mech is not immobile unless it specifically says somewhere in the rules that, oh, this makes the mech immobile. So it's always good to just make the assumption on the well, my mech is not immobile yet.
It was contentious during the play test.
Yes.
All right. Third one. Again, related to immobile units. And that's how a lot of these rules are going to be. We're going to state a thing and then like 4 other things that interact with it that change because that's the way the rules change this time.
So and change is a weird thing because really it's still like 95 or more % the exact same rules. These are just enhancements, refinements. It consolidates things. It's more of just
do it logically,
like a large rules revision, but the rules are still exactly the same. It's the same exact game we've been playing for over 40 years. Like it's still the same game.
Yeah. All right. You can walk through hexes that contain immobile enemy units.
Yay. I'm happy about this one. I thought this one should have been like this was a house rule we used to use anyway.
Oh no, my immobile atlas at the front of the column is
blocking everybody.
Blocking everyone's movement through it, except the friendlies, but they can't move through because there's an enemy on the other side. I was like, this is dumb. Steve's nodding his head like, that is dumb.
No, I mean, this is one of those things where, okay, I'm gonna take a slight detour here just to state that while I was reading this book, I had a very disturbing thought. Either more has changed than I thought, or I discovered that I've been playing this game very wrong for a lot of things. And it's like, wow, is that how that's supposed to work? I hope that's a change from Total Warfare because I haven't memorized all the rules yet.
Right.
And that's not what I thought it was. So I'm learning a lot. But no, this one with, walking through hexes with the mobile enemies, this is one that I had gotten wrong in the past because it's a 30-meter hex. This is a game of abstraction. The mech is tall, but not that tall. You're telling me I can't walk around a corpse?
That is
that's crazy.
That was correct.
Yeah, but as soon as the Atlas falls down, it splashes out like the
T1000 liquid metal, right?
Yeah, it's like a cat. It takes up as much volume as it is, so
the mech becomes liquid.
Yeah, liquefy your Atlas and pour it out on the ground, and it covers into exactly 30 meters hexagonally.
Right. But that was the whole problem. Is like, it just didn't make any sense. And this, I think, is, like you mentioned earlier, right? Kind of a logical conclusion that, hey, if they're on the ground and not moving, you can just step over them and it's okay.
Yeah. All right. This is a good one because the number of times people ask this question at Southern Assault made me worry about how everyone plays BattleTech. Walk on deployment, like being able to move on from the board edge, is now defined.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
that is a way that you can deploy units. The other ways are specified. Like if you are combat dropping from the air or your hidden unit and forward deployed, these are all defined. And I was like, what? That's insane that they weren't defined before.
Yeah, you would think some of these things would have been clarified, but they are now. They are now. That's
Here's
all.
The good asterisk for this one is, and because now we have deployment like things defined, now there's so much more. This equipment may come on the field active on your mech. Like,
yeah, that's a good one because like your PPC capacitors can now you can now enter the field with them fully charged already.
The number of equipment that has the activated, the keyword essentially, like can come onto the field already on, is insane. Like it's not just things like stealth armor before. Like that was really the main one. If it was a pop quiz, what equipment can come onto the field on stealth armor? That was really it. Now it's things like Gauss rifles. They are on. They are activated capacitors charged. All the stealth systems, like anything with the activated keyword, you can have on in turn one. I was like, that's insane. Because it's everything we wanted to do before. Now they said you can do it. So,
good times.
Good times. Let's talk some water. Guess what? You can walk into water. It no longer causes PSR. Yeah. What? Splashing. Switching to splashing.
You can run into water now for a PSR, but you can run in water, which is great. So now those 3-5 mechs can actually get through a 1-hex river. Like yes. That's huge.
That I think is one of the biggest changes that we can talk about this a little later as well.
No, we will definitely talk about that. That's big.
This and the environmental effects, I think, are the two, for me, like the two, like this thing used to be a huge malice to play with, right? Why would anybody play with weather? Why would anybody play with like more than level 0, level 1 water? Because it just became such a hurdle to deal with. It now makes it's still not great, but it makes it manageable, right? You're not like totally hosed if
water was the most dangerous terrain in BattleTech, hands down.
Except for hills when they had partial cover the other way.
Yeah, okay. Granted, yes, 100%. Partial cover was your enemy until like 2004.
But yeah, water, not as terrifying as it used to be.
It really validates some maps, specifically like River Delta and in the Savannah map pack, which has a lot of water. And I was like, this map pack should be coming out now for cool rules, not then.
Oh, it's going to be used a lot more now, which is great.
Yes, and I'm like, River Delta. I've seen it played on tournaments, like Total Warfare grade tournaments, and it's like, why would someone subject you to this?
Because they hate fun and they hate their players.
So
you know who you are.
I do. All right, back to water. Depth 2 water, if you're fully submerged, costs 2 MP. Woo!
Well, I mean, 2 MP extra.
2 MP extra, sorry. It was like, what, 3 before?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
It was just super slow. Like first of all, you could only walk, and then you were
there you go.
Slow. And so heavy mechs were just like you had to use minimum movement to get to the next water hex anyway. It was crazy. It was just
that was the thing. It's like there was no point.
Yeah.
And there's some level 2 rivers, and that's just not fun. So water, it's on the table. It's what's for dinner, folks. More for movement. Backwards level change. It's standard now, folks.
Yay. And there's a lot of those things are just the optional rules from the Battle Mech manual. Like the changes, they are no longer optional. They are standard. because they make sense. Like it just makes sense.
Yeah. And I don't think the backwards level change rule was ever game breaking.
No, it was good. In fact, like it made sense. You should be able to for a risk. And I'm fine with anything like that that's risk reward, down with it. Perfect.
And last one that I have for movement, skidding has been removed.
What? Skidding? What's that?
Exactly. Skidding for roads, skidding for ice. Anytime there was skidding, the rules have been written so that there's no more skidding.
A lot of people, when they are talking about this book and how bad it is, immediately point to that rule. Though they took skidding out, so it's not BattleTech anymore. I mean, it happens so infrequently. Like for real, you did not play that many games with skidding because it wasn't fun. And you also had 6 to 8 pages of rules that described this event that rarely ever happened.
The big thing I see about skidding is people always bring up the fact that they would take hovercraft and then flank them and then make a sharp turn right before.
Yeah.
And they would like
complain about it most are the ones gaming the system.
Right. They would try to they try to skid into units to get extra hexes to make more charging damage happen. And it's like, oh, well, that feels kind of bad. I mean, I guess it's legal by the rules, but clearly not intended. By removing skidding, that goes away. And yes, you lose that, whatever you want to call that, angle shooting or whatever. But
like if that's what you had to do to win games and have fun, then I don't really want you playing at my table anyway.
More importantly, if that's what you thought quintessential BattleTech was, I'm afraid you missed the part where there are giant walking mech machines.
Yeah.
All right. That's all I had for movement. Combat. Let's move to combat, which has been renamed. That's the first big change. It's been renamed the range attack phase, the RAP.
Which is probably a good thing because people, especially with Alpha Strike being out now and so widely played, if you just called it combat and then you had to break it into different phases, it's better to say, hey, there's the range attack phase and the physical attack phase. So people don't think that there's only one or that you can only do one in Classic.
It is confusing. So I'm really happy with this.
No. All right. The first one, because we touched on it, pilot hits in the combat ranged attack phase are only done at the end of the phase. And
it's only one.
It's only...
If you get hit in the head with 3 SRMs, you make one pilot hit, you make one consciousness check, and it's at the highest number. You don't take 3 if you take 3. You don't take a 3, a 5, and a 7. You only take a 7, and that's it. You're done.
Now, I saw some people on the Discord saying that removes like the ladder of like excitement of people going through and passing all those.
I'm okay with this change. I really am.
Yeah.
Like I've seen that ladder a few times and I've seen it go all the way up to 11. I've seen that and it is exciting, but this is just better overall. It just is. Because I've seen it the other way too, where, you know, they get that double 1 immediately and you never make it up the ladder. That is far more common.
Yeah. I think that's the thing. It's like the number of times I don't go up the ladder at all is much more than the times I've gotten to the top of the ladder. In fact, I rarely get to the top of the ladder. I fail the first or second rung if it happens.
And to be honest, I don't have that many games where I'm taking that many head hits because oftentimes if you take 3 head hits for medium lasers, you're not making any more checks, you know?
Yeah.
See, the more times people run like any hardened armor or feral lamb or like now we have more specialty armors, there's a lot more head hits that are going to take out mechs. Those mechs, at least.
That's fair. That's fair. But
play the weird stuff, and you'll be like, "I've got 5 pilot hits, and I still have armor."
Yeah. Well, I think that I don't want to say reducing rolling is a good thing, but it does speed the game up. And I know
extraneous rolling can go away.
Yeah.
Look. I'll fall 5 times in the movement phase and we'll do my ladder then. But in the combat phase, when I'm tracking 12 different, heat, ammo, all that things, one will suffice. I just need to mark the pilot hits for that phase. That's okay. Next one.
Yep.
This is wild, boys. Hold on to your mech seats. Torso twist can be done in either the tag, ranged, or physical attack phase.
Correct. Now, it can still only be done once per turn.
Yes.
But you can pick the phase in which you do it. And then it's locked that way for the rest of the turn.
The number of times.
Yeah. Tag.
I mean, it literally happened for me. It's like, okay, I want to shoot this way and then punch the guy that's like in my weird right torso.
Or backhand the guy who's behind you. Fire all my weapons to the front and turn and backhand the guy behind me. Can I do that? No, because you have to do your torso twist in the shooting phase. That's not how it is anymore, and I am happy about it.
Yes. It's logical. It's how I would think. It's like, cool, I've shot, now I'm torso twisting to punch.
Yep.
Thank you for fixing it.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm always in favor of giving players a little bit more freedom to do stuff on the table, right? Because these types of, oops, I got you. You didn't torso twist at the right opportunity, or we moved from this phase to the next one and you missed it. That always feels bad. So,
yeah. All right, next up, we just got a clarification, but it's needed because
because it wasn't clear. Like, this is how I played it, but there were questions at tournaments, and when you have a question at a tournament and it's not clear, and you have to be like, well, I saw that on a forum once, like done by this guy, so I know that that's how it is, but we don't have internet here, so I can't show you the exact post. Like, you're just gonna have to trust me, and people don't want it. They want to see it written in the book, and here it's clear and it's good.
All right. The clarification that TMM remains active for the turn, even if the target becomes immobile.
Yep. I mean, you still get the -4 for it being immobile, but you still have to add that +5 TMM if it had just raced all the way across the map before it fell down at your feet and went unconscious. You got to add it all together.
Which is good, because this was a point of contention and needed the clarification because it just didn't say. So now if I run in a dasher and I slip and I fall and I knock myself out, even in the physical phase, 2 phases later, I still have a TMM of 4, right? That's a huge benefit.
Yes.
It's all simultaneous and not all mechs are not all mechs are not moving, stopping, shooting, and then punching each other like in discrete portions of the 10-second turn. It's like, no, they're all moving, they're all shooting, and they're all punching. It's just the way we do it.
What are you talking about, Josh? There's a little referee that stands on my tables and blows a whistle when a mech is offsides and punches in the wrong phase.
If only. So yeah, I'm trying to think of like all the times that's happened to me. It's probably happened more times than I imagine, and I'm just like, I'm normally going immobile when I'm already like Team M0. So yeah. All right, next one. This is for targeting multiple mechs. The thing that we do all the time, because, we're such tactical geniuses, but the multiple targets modifier now only applies a flat +1 per target past the first. So, and +2 modifier specifically for rear attacks has been removed. So, if I got gun, I can use gun.
Yeah. It's just all secondary targets are +1, which is great.
No, you don't have to distinguish between tertiary and quaternary and whatever.
No, it was just whatever. Like, so if I had 2 targets in my front arc and 1 target in my rear arc, the primary target's at a +0. The secondary in my front arc is a +1, and any other secondaries in my front arc would be +1. But anything in a side arc or the rear arc is a +2 to hit because it's in a different arc.
Yeah.
And so that they're all +1 now. Yeah.
Which is nice.
I mean, the few times I had a rear facing medium laser and I wanted to fire it and I had to be like, I have to choose this as that. And then this be that. At that point, it's no longer worth it to fire. Like, it was that bad. So
I don't know, man.
It still has the rule that if one of your targets is in your forward arc, that has to be a primary.
Yeah, but it was like, okay, but because that was primary, and then me shooting a rear laser, and that makes it a secondary target, it was +3. I was like, I'm not shooting a medium laser for +3. When it's probably a dasher in the back. It's already a +4. So, yeah. I'll take the +1. If I have the rear medium laser, the target computer can find that and fire it. Next, one arm prone fire. It's allowed. Woo!
Yay.
Another
optional
adoption
rules.
of an optional rule.
It was just given the thumbs up. Super happy.
Yeah, this is something that we normally played with anyway, so I'm glad that this made it in.
Yeah.
The number of times I forgot that it wasn't standard is 99% of the time. It's like, sorry, your left arm's destroyed. You can't prop and fire. What?
We didn't agree, and it's an optional rule. Sorry.
Yeah. So, all right, next one and last one for the range attack phase. Aim shots now hit the desired location on a 1d6 roll of a 4-up, rather than the old way, which was a 2d6 roll needing a 6, 7, or an 8.
Exact same odds. Well, really close to the exact same odds, but it's just easier. And
way more intuitive.
They did a lot of that, which I like. And you'll notice it on a lot of the things. Rolling low is bad now instead of rolling high. But this is all part of that consolidation of making the dice more intuitive. And this does that.
Yeah. I felt like this should have been the rule to start. I understand what they were doing using the 2d6, bell curve. I appreciate them trying to do that. But when you can get real close by just making it a straight d6 roll, just uncomplicated, right?
Yeah. I mean, it was pretty bad if you're shooting like multiple medium lasers and an aim shot, and it's like, all right, cool. I have to roll 2d6 for each laser. I need to then specifically get a 6, 7, or 8, and then those are hitting that location. But if the other ones didn't get the 6, 7, 8, then I have to roll another hit to see where those hit. And I was like, yeah, this is just a lot easier to roll 4 medium lasers, roll 4 dice. Oh, 3 of them got 4-ups. Cool. Those hit the location. The one of them, yeah. It was faster to say then, even.
It's true.
All right, let's move on to some physical attack phase. If we're ready.
I am ready
to rock and roll.
All right. First off, it's named the physical attack phase.
Hooray!
Yeah. I like that. It's just fun. They reiterate a lot in this, that physical attack timing is not altered even in the cases of charges, DFAs, or pushes. All attacks in the physical attack phase are simultaneous. If you push me out of the way, I still get to kick you. I don't get to if you push me in front of a different mech, I don't get to kick that mech. No. Everything happens simultaneously. There's no way to kick, push, or do anything, displace anyone where they wouldn't get to attack. And that's very important.
Right. Yeah. For the displacement, super important.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't really these are all like 1% cases, but they add up. Next one. The punch hit location table has been reversed.
Yes. Thank you.
Which makes more sense, right? Because
it does.
When you were rolling on the to hit location chart, if you rolled higher than a 7, it was going to be on the left side. If you rolled lower than a 7, it was going to be on the right side. But the old table for punch was the opposite way. So now there's parity between the two, which is nice.
See, the number of times I hit with punches so low, and I always had to use the reference sheet for that, like every time. So yeah, but I'm glad it's changed. It does invalidate all of our printed sheets with the score, but those were unofficial anyways. They weren't real. So here's another.
Well, I was going to say, so the thing about the, and this is kind of important, but the physical attack timing that we just talked about. So if you're doing a DFA and for some reason, say the target in front of you got destroyed, the one that you are DFAing, if you land, because your target destroyed, you don't do a DFA, you can then declare another physical attack. You can then punch or kick a mech that's in range. Like you don't have to say, well, my target is gone. I didn't even roll for a DFA. I can't do anything else. You can declare a new physical attack target. And that, I don't know if that's new, but that has been very much clarified, which is super important because we had that happen in the grinder as well.
So because you declare the DFA in the
shooting phase.
Oh, shooting?
You declare the DFA in the moving phase, but your target is destroyed in the shooting phase, and you still have a physical attack phase. So then you're like, well, now what do I do? Now you can actually say, well, there was another mech that was behind him. I'm going to kick that guy instead or punch them.
Okay, so that's something we have to think about now in the DFA. All right, line it up so there's a chance that if something bad happens, I can get a punch or two out of this.
Yep, I can still hit somebody.
Speaking of the hit location charts, right, and their shifts, I also wanted to shout out that on page 74, they have finally given us a really nice visualization of the hit location chart for people that are not like the visual, or the people that are visual learners can look at this chart, and it's got a really nice layout of where your through armor crits go. I mean, they still have the same hit location chart directly above it, but now there's another picture. And
on the box set, you get a tarot card sized printout of that,
which is on the table. Super handy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm so ready for the quick sheet from that one.
Yeah.
So. All right. I just got one more for the physical attack phase. Again, the rare case, but it adds into all the immobile things. Comparative modifiers. If you're attacking an immobile target and you use something that has a comparative modifier, aka charges, DFAs, assume a pilot skill of 4 instead of what the target actually has. Essentially, if they're unconscious, the mech takes over and it's like kind of piloting a 4.
Well, it's specifically because if you're immobile, you're at a -4. And so if you assume they have a 4, then you do the -4, then it just goes to 0. It's just simple math, and it's how it should work. Like this goes actually way back to our episode where we talk about the changes from the 2nd edition BattleTech, because things were the math was the same, but it was stated differently. So they're just explaining it in a way. It's the exact same thing, but it makes sense because this is how our brains work. So I think that was a great clarification, and it just takes away a lot of the questions where someone's like, wait, explain that to me again. And now you could just be like, yes, your guy is at a 0 now. We don't have to worry about it because your pilot, you can't move the mech. So the 4 for piloting assumed with the -4, then your modifier is a 0. You can't do anything to positively affect this outcome.
Now, the one weird thing about this, right, is that if you have a crap pilot whose piloting is 5 or 6, if they become immobile, it's better for them.
No, it's saying that that's irrelevant because you can't move it for good or for bad.
No, I understand that.
The -4 for the mobile makes it 0, and that's what it needs to be. Like it doesn't make sense to, like, your pilot can't make it worse. Even if it's not worse piloting.
That's it. Your pilot doesn't move into the blow or something like that, right? Because you're really bad. It's just
because you can't.
They rolled a 1 and they critical failed and stubbed their toe and fell onto the sword.
Oh no.
So yeah, it's a needed clarification that doesn't actually change anything, but it makes it make sense now.
All right. Well, while we're in the physical attack phase, we're going to talk about a few of the physical attack phase changes, because there were more probably changes here than there were in like the other ones.
There were a lot.
Of course, the combat has all the equipment changes, which we'll get to in another episode.
Yes.
This one, much more clarifications, minor changes. So, big one, we'll start with charging. Charging has changed.
I think for the better.
The blurb, the charge damage formula has been rewritten to be based on TMM rather than hexes moved, and to include the hex the target is in, reducing the damage from high speed charges.
That's important, because with charges and with DFAs, if you charge someone 5 hexes away from you, you should have a TMM of 3. And the way it was written in the BMM, you only had a TMM of 2 because you stopped 4 hexes away. It didn't count that 5th hex. And that's important for both damage calculation and for anything based on TMM, defensively or in this case, offensively.
Now,
all right,
this was discussed on the Discord pretty heavily. And what was really interesting is I saw a heat map effectively of how much damage you were doing out of the old system to the new system. And what it did is, one of the things that never made a ton of sense to me is you had these really small, light, fast mechs that would go screaming across the battlefield.
Right.
and then smash into the side of something, completely obliterating themselves, and then nuking whatever their target was, doing a ton of damage in a crash.
Yeah.
And it was like, but you're still only a 30-ton mech. You're only a 25-ton. Like, what do you, I get it. Getting hit by a Ferrari is still getting hit by a Ferrari, but, you're a Locust. You're a skimmer. You know what I mean? Like, I'm in an Atlas. What do you mean you're just going to, wreck my day because you're going 900 miles an hour? So this tones that down by quite a bit. It helps level off the damage curve.
It does. It levels it off a bit. Yeah.
Which I think is a really good improvement because, there were some people that would bring skimmers to use as cruise missiles. Yeah. And I hated that. I thought that was awful.
I like so many of these rules that make it, that close up a lot of those loopholes. I mean, that little Locust can still push the Atlas off the map. Like without
Sure. But I mean, specifically for charges, you would, you're not able just to completely obliterate something.
Yeah.
All right. So let's check my math on here. So first off, the new formula is you take the attacker's weight, divide by 5.
Yep. It used to be divide by 10, and now it's divide by 5, which is good and important.
And then multiply that by the TMM
plus
1. So if I'm a charger, and let's say I get the perfect, 8 hex charge, first off, I get that last hex, which I didn't used to get, essentially.
Right. I mean, it doesn't affect anything.
No,
the charge is the same for a 7 or an 8. But yes, you get that 8th thing in case, say, the target was exactly 7 away. Mm-hmm. You get the +3. You don't get just a +2, which is super important.
So 80 tons for a charger on a 5/8 movement profile, 80 divided by 5, 16 times TMM 3 plus 1, so times 4, 64 damage in groups of 5.
Yep.
Still not bad.
Oh, that's a nice charge.
Yeah, no.
Very nice charge.
But then we go to something like, I don't know, a fireball, which is Davian's own, plague upon the earth. That's 20 tons. Divide by 5. Cool. That's 4. It can go 17 hexes. That's still only TMM 4 plus 1, so times 5. So 20 damage. So the little light mech, yes, it can cause a PSR in the good, perfect cases. But really, it's going to splat itself.
It's not a cruise missile anymore.
No.
Like, light mechs should not be charging you anyway, and this dissuades you. So there are still going to be, like, it's still in your toolbox, and there are situations where you do want to charge the mech with your little light mech, but you're no longer building light mechs that are disposable to nuke mechs from across the map. Like, it's not what you can do. So all the people who wanted lambs just because they remember charging with a lamb from across the map, like, good luck. It's not going to help you anymore.
I'm okay with this. I'm very okay with this.
I really am. I think this is great.
Okay. I'm going to talk about clubs. There's a bunch of changes to clubs. Do we all need to go over everything for clubs? No. But they're changing.
They are. Okay, the two big ones, easier to find, and they cause a PSR just like kicks do, which they always should have, and they never did, but they do now.
Yeah. Oh, and the other one I was needing is you can find them using only your ranged attack.
That is the other big thing.
Yes, you can, as someone who has taken the grasshopper to pull up the tree, and then like, okay, cool, I have to wait for the next turn before I can use this. Like, no.
Horrible.
Oh. Well, it didn't make any sense to do. Why would you ever do something like that unless
nobody used clubs? In the last 30 years, nobody used clubs.
I used them against Jason Hansen. Think of my butt kicked using them.
I mean, it's a neat idea. It's neat that they have those rules, but like a lot of the weather and everything else, it was either too difficult or didn't give you enough of an advantage, right?
Yeah.
Now you're getting hit with a tree or a metal girder. You can maybe cause a stumble with the PSR. You can find them in your range attack phase, right? Which, okay, I lost my only gun or I lost a big gun. Let me pick up this club and try to do something with it. I think it's neat. I think it's cool. If I recall correctly, wasn't there... Yeah, you could search any rubble pile, right? There was something
any rubble or woods.
Woods gets you tree clubs, and rubble gets you girder clubs.
Right, not rough, but rubble. Yeah. So a tree is only good for one attack. Girder or a mech limb is worth infinite attacks, and it is so satisfying to beat someone to death with their arm or leg that you shot off of them the turn before.
That's great. I love that. And plus, it gives you a reason to shoot buildings to the ground, right?
Yeah.
I need a girder. Let's shoot this building.
And those are easier to make into rubble, so it's good.
Yeah.
Very happy.
All right. That was clubs.
Yep.
DFAs. DFAs did change a little bit.
A little bit.
The attack direction is determined from that hex the attacker is in at the end of the moon phase, not at the start. Weird clarification.
Important, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things that just weird edge cases cause confusion, and they just clarified it, so that's good.
It's so many weird edge cases that just got logicked out, and I'm very thankful for it.
Yeah, super happy.
We ready for the big one, boys?
I am, because this whole kick section came up in the grinder, so I'm happy that I'm happy about all of it.
Yeah. Kick attacks. The base target number has gone from -2 to -1.
Yep, a little bit harder. A little bit harder.
As much as I love kicks, I mean, they were too good.
Like
they were just... Pulse knees were broken.
Go get some AES then, dude. You're okay.
No, I know, but my point is that like kicks were king.
Yes, they were. There's no reason
in Total Warfare.
Really.
Yeah, there's no reason really to punch unless you're going for a head hit, right?
They invalidated every other melee weapon by being -2.
That's it. They were too good.
Yep.
Too good. But I think it was a necessary change. I like kicks. I like kicking a lot. It was really good. But
pumped up kicks, man. Pumped up kicks.
This next one, though, we had a Crusader in the grinder, and it used to be if you fired a weapon on any leg, you could not kick with either leg. And now that Crusader got to fire its SRMs on one leg and kick with the other leg.
See, and this is my thought, is like this one didn't go far enough. This one, you got 2 slots in your legs. If you put in weapons in your legs, I think you should just be able to shoot and kick like they're designed for gyroscopically stabilized kick shooting. Yeah, sure. Like fire only disables a kick by that leg, not all kicks now.
Well, because
great. I love that it's better. I feel like we could have just gone like leg kicks are not stopped by weapon attacks in the legs.
Yeah, but I love the image, the head cannon of like you take a step forward, you fire the missiles with that leg while the other the other leg is starting to swing around for that roundhouse mech kick. Like it looks visually awesome in my head.
Steve is asking how many mechs are there with
actual leg weapons? Yeah, like how many?
I know of 3. I know of 2.
So
okay, so this rule affects
third one?
five mechs, right? Total, maybe.
The Crusader, we can all knock that one off our list. We all have that one. The Viking is mine, and Viking 2C goes with it, so that's the Viking chassis line.
There's an Atlas with one.
I was going to go Treborana. No, it's the Scirocco.
Okay, the Scirocco is the one I was thinking of.
Okay, so I got Viking, and you know what? Hey, if we're getting 3 out of like 4 or 4 out of the whole, I think there's only like a few.
There's not many.
Yeah.
So this rule doesn't change it.
Who just bought a Viking?
No. Well, I mean, like quite a few quads have some weapons.
Yeah, and well, when you get more leg slots, you use them for weapons.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think it went far enough. I still am happy. So now the good one, punch attacks. Punch attacks are now king. Punch attacks base target number modifier is changed from 0 to -1. Yep. So essentially, punches and kicks are -1.
Well, this works because it's the same 2 hit numbers, but now the decision isn't, do I do it a 0 or a -2? It's, do I want to try and kick their leg and knock them over, or do I want to try and punch through their weakened torso or head armor? Like you actually have a real choice. It's a real choice and not a pretend choice.
Yep, I like this.
I will have to see how it is. First, I have to state it's the same damage. Like 1 kick or 2 punches is the same damage. Mm-hmm. So they finally balance the damage output, how the damage is applied on a it's either right leg or left leg versus 1/6 chance for each torso location. We'll have to see. That there might be punches might be a little strong this in the next decade.
It didn't feel super strong at the grinder. We had a lot of punches going on because of this rule. Because we did the whole grinder with the core rules, which was great. Like we got 6 hours of core rules going on.
No, I mean that's what you need.
Yeah, it was good. And it didn't feel overpowered, but it was definitely fun to make that choice. Like, do I want this guy to go down on the ground, or do I want to, like, he's been hit in the head for 2 points? Is this enough to get that crit? You know,
I think arm weapons still being a limiting factor for the punch. I think if that changed, then we'd be talking.
There is a reason. There is a reason why I just went and bought 2 of the Elysian Lancer boxes for those Ost boys. This might have been the reason.
Fist for days. So kicks and punches. I'm very excited about these changes.
Yep.
Do we want to move on to the big one, which is damage?
Yeah, there's a lot here that we need to discuss.
There's a lot.
Read through it pretty fast and don't stop at each dot.
All right, so first off, floating crits. It's in the damage section, and it's added as a standard, yet still optional rule. Yeah, that doesn't change how 99% of our games play.
Most people do floating crits.
Yeah. Now we move on to the ammo and explosion section, which has the majority of, I'd say, half of the damage changes. First off, dumping ammunition. It's been removed. You don't get it anymore.
No more.
What you do get in place of it is you may load ammo as a half ton.
And ammo does, I mean, we'll get to that, but ammo does less damage overall. So, a ton of machine gun ammo is going to do the exact same amount of damage as a ton of like AC5 ammo.
Yeah. Ammo explosions and component explosions, I need to add, they're both together now. Deal only 1 Mechwarrior pilot hit.
Super happy about this.
So no more 2 hits per explosion. 20 years of why do I have 5 or 6 pilot hits and 3 ammo explosions kills him.
Yeah, it killed people too fast.
Yeah. So good change. Component explosions, just like in the playtest, now have a fixed damage value of 2 times the item's numbers of slots. So a Gauss rifle, you just look at the number of slots at times 2. Yep. Boom, you're done.
I love that. Great. Super easy math.
I love this. Yeah, because the big thing was like, oh no, my Gauss rifle exploded. How much damage does it do? Let me go find the book. What section is it in? Oh crap, I can't find it. You spend 20 minutes looking for damage, and it's like, yeah, it was a pain. Huge pain.
Yep. And like in the playtest, we now have the 20-point damage cap to all internal explosions, whether they be ammo or component.
Helps out those heavy and assault mechs. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, so it's the way the explosion works is a little weird, so you got to read that. Essentially, its structure.
It's on that card though. Like it's well printed on the little cardboard cards that you get in the in the core box set. Like it is spelled out in a purple box on one of those sheets, step by step. So it's good. Yeah. We used it. We used it a lot.
Oh, I believe it. And case explosions only do 10 damage total, and then case 2 do 1 damage.
Yeah,
but also your armor in that location is doing things.
Well, yeah. So the case and case 2 each do 10 points of armor damage. So case 1 just does 10 internal and 10 armor, and case 2 does 1 internal and 10 armor, or up to 10 armor. Yeah,
yeah. That's the thing. The up to 10 armor. So.
Yep.
Yeah, my pilot's still going to die by ammo explosions. It's okay. Don't worry, folks. So quick, any of these really sticking points?
I've used them. I like them all.
Yeah, these are all, I think, positive changes. Now, I will state that the 20-point cap for ammo explosions was, I don't want to say controversial, but there was a lot of discussion about it because of the fact that it made assaults way more survivable. And it really didn't help too many mechs out there with the XL engines. So,
yeah.
I mean, look, we were going to die whether we wanted to or not. Now we don't die all the time. All right. That was ammo and explosions. Let's move on to some legs. we did that leg episode. Guess what? It's invalid.
It's all invalid.
I'm okay with that if that's the price I have to pay to get this. So there's a lot. So overview. First off, leg damage can only cause 1 PSR from any given instance due to damage to a single leg. So you take 1 PSR now if for the leg damage.
Per leg.
Per leg.
So
again, like the playtest, if I get my hip, upper, lower foot, like if everything gets blown out, I'm only taking 1 PSR.
Yep.
Not all that has a PSR. I know you were about to get me on that, Denim, but
right. Well, I was just going to say that all of them have the highest modifier. Like the modifiers are still cumulative, but you only make 1 roll per leg.
Just like consciousness.
Yep.
Which I think is a great. I mean, the number of times that I played games where I'm just rolling PSR after PSR. I spent half the game on the ground, and that's not engaging or fun.
Stay up and get up faster now, like across the board, and it is good. It feels good. You don't have a Clint that's just on his back for 4 hours because he can't stand up. That's gone.
Leg damage. Next one cannot reduce a mech's movement speed below walk 1, run 2.
Right.
Which is also what happens if you lose a leg. So if you blow off my leg, I'm reduced to walk 1, run 2.
Right. So so if one leg is destroyed and the other leg takes a bunch of actuator crits, it doesn't make you a 0. Like those can add to your PSR modifiers, but they're not going to reduce your speed anymore.
And this is why it's important that we clarified immobile earlier in the episode. Because leg damage alone can't. I mean, you have to have both legs destroyed to be immobile, right?
Correct.
So this is what we were talking about earlier when we say you want to assume that you are not immobile unless something happens to cause you to be immobile. Right. So this gets a little funky, but just read it. It'll make sense when you read it.
It'll make sense when you play the game and read it. Like when you're seeing it in action, that's when it really clicks for sure.
Yeah. The foot, just like the playtest, leg actuator, foot, no longer inflicts a PSR when hit. Only a PSR modifier. So don't take 20 damage when your foot gets hit.
Yeah.
But if you just get your stub your toe, nothing happens.
Right.
The big one, and I think this wasn't fully in the playtest because they had to take it back to the shop and rework on it, hips. A hit to a hip actuator is a +1 PSR modifier, not a +2.
That's a big change. Yeah.
That's a big change. A hit no longer halves the MP, which is what the playtest was. So instead, it's only reducing the MP by 1, like all the other foot instead only reduces the MP by 1, like the other leg actuators. But now it stops you from level changes as easily as before. So I really like that. I like that they went back and made it something more interesting, unique, and easy to play. Like they were not crippling me, but not having movement and then doing a lot of calculations. And then there was that weird case where, okay, I'm already immobile on like an urban mech. So good job, guys. Y'all fixed it.
Yeah. And I missed that at the grinder. So I was doing have MP, and then Scott, of course, is like from ScottGameroom.com reminded me that change was different. And so that was way better.
As we talk about these things, right? Something else I wanted to mention that we didn't mention in the movement section, standing up, right, is easier now.
It is -1.
Right, it's a -1 for standing up. So even if you have all these leg crits and adding all these all these positive changes to leg actuators and everything else, if you do fall down, you can stand up with a little bit easier, which is nice.
But I was so excited about that, I completely forgot about it.
Like I was surprised. I'm like, there's something in movement that we just missed. Yeah. Like, wait a minute, this is important.
They did take out careful stand.
Yeah, so no more careful stand, but everyone gets -1 to stand,
right, which works out super well. Like that's yeah.
I'll take that every time over careful stand some of the time.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. And the last one for like big damage, if your gyro is hit, it's a +2 PSR modifier, not a +3.
It's also a big deal.
And yeah. No more. I mean, there's still a chance you will die and fall down if you get the golden BB, but now you're going to fall down once if you fail the +2, and then you're going to get a -1 to get back up.
Yep.
And then with also the +2. So
yeah, you're wobbly, but you're no longer just a doorstop.
Your Weeble wobble that falls down occasionally.
Broken Weeble.
I think a lot of these changes really incentivize playing the game. And which sounds ridiculous to say it that way, but I mean, you spend so much less time on the ground. There are games where I take a random hit, get that gyro crit, or get a bad leg crit, and you just fall down over and over and over again. I'm like, this is a waste of time. I can't stand up. This is ridiculous. So the gyros being a little bit less punishing, the stand-up checks being a little bit less punishing, will encourage players to stand the mech up, get back in the fight, and watch something explode, which is why we're all here.
Yeah.
You're going to have to come over, Steve, play a grinder with us. It's you're going to have a lot more fun. This was fun.
Only if I get the Clint.
Okay, yeah, done.
He's reserved it.
I mean, it's not in the box, but I'm going to put one in there.
Good.
So,
Yeah. He's only allowed to play the Clint.
to begin with, yeah.
All right, let's move on some heat phase because there's just a little bit here. Like you said, Steve, standing is now a -1/2 stand. They've deleted the each standing attempt is 1 heat.
Everyone forgot
Because
about
no
that.
one played that.
No,
Everyone forgot about that.
When we talked to Keith and Aron, I definitely told them I didn't know that was a rule. I didn't know that happened. So I'm glad that this just is just. I think Aron said at the time, he said something like, "This is just an extraneous rule that didn't add anything, so it's got to go." Right?
I ruined someone's day with a TSM mech because they tried to stand up twice, made it on the third time, came out there and did all their shooting to be the perfect heat. And I'm like, you did 3 stand attempts. That's +3 heat. And they're like, that's not a thing. And I showed it to them in the book, and it was the worst feeling in the world. And they were just so like it just ruined their whole day.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that's gone.
It's a dumb rule.
All right. There's really only one other one for heat, and I'm technically moved it from damage to heat because it really affects heat more. Life support. If your life support gets crit out, or like me, you like to run torso mounted mechs because you hate yourself deep down inside. If your life support is hit, it has been changed now, which is, I mean, it wasn't worth it before. The old values were 15 to 25 on the heat scale for 1 hit and 26 for 2 hits. The new values, 10 to 19 for 1 hit, 20 plus for 2.
I'm so happy about this.
It's
so
a good change because life support
it was
hits were really.
Because, these hadn't been revised since single heat sinks, and it made sense with his single heat sinks. It doesn't make any sense with double heat sinks. Nobody.
I don't know. I've taken some hits.
Got that high.
Take a torso mounted cockpit
No,
where any
yeah.
heat does a pilot hit. The AC breaks, you're instantly Ace Ventura in the Rhino.
Yeah. But I'm huge, super happy about this. For the very few times it's ever happened to me, these are way better numbers.
Yeah, they make them more relevant. And honestly, most of the time at our tables, we treated a life support hit as
It's a free
fantastic.
hit.
It wasn't a cockpit.
Yep.
I'm still alive. You know.
Yeah, it was a free hit because it didn't do anything.
And you shouldn't have critical equipment in the head of a mech be a freebie slot.
Agreed. That was my big point. Agreed. 100%.
That's what the pilot's for. He's the freebie slot. The mech's fine, folks.
It's
Woo!
the cheapest part of the whole mech.
That's the whole point. All right. Well, we've only got like one more section left, and that's the PSRs, because we did a lot of damage that changed. We did a lot of movement that changed. We have to talk about the PSRs that changed. First off, a mech that shuts down no longer requires an immediate +3 PSR.
Yeah,
I forgot this like 50% of the time that I've shut down.
I always remember that it's a thing, but I remember it from the old days where it was a 10 up, and then I got moved to a PSR +3, and that's the part I forgot. And now I don't have to remember any of it, so yay.
Next, the PSR modifier for making a successful DFA attack. So if you've move and you've hit and now you're trying to stay standing, it's now gone from +4 to +2.
Yeah.
And that saves me a lot of deaths.
We did a lot of DFAing in the grinder, and it was like, it's only +2. This is gonna be great. And there was a lot of people jumping around trying to land on people. A lot.
I mean, it makes DFAs a little bit less punishing because there were times like, don't get me wrong, DFAs were never a great choice of like options on how to try to kill somebody. They were cool, they were cinematic, they were fun.
They were tactical.
X to doubt. But what I will tell you is that the DFAs in general, it was like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to take a bunch of damage and then I'm going to fail my landing and I'm not going to stick it. I'm going to break myself, but it'll be cool if I hit you. Now it makes it way more likely that you'll actually do it. And that feels pretty good coming from a Falcon player.
Yep.
We briefly touched on this next one. Leg damage to a single leg can only cause 1 PSR.
Yep.
So, like we said before,
makes sense.
PSR per leg.
Yeah. So that means, though, if you take a hip on one leg, a lower leg actuator on a second leg, and 20 points of damage, it is 3 PSRs in that phase. But that's only because there was damage done to each leg and a 20.1. So you will have multiple PSRs, but only so if there was like a upper leg and lower leg on one leg and a hip on the other and 20 points, then it's still only 3 PSRs.
Yeah, it's less than it otherwise would have been under the old rules.
Yeah,
but you can still take multiple PSRs a turn.
Yeah,
still less rolling.
Still less rolling. Oh yeah,
Sure.
I think it's a positive change, but it doesn't go crazy and say you can only take 1 PSR a turn, which I think would be too few.
There was a point where I was like, okay, how many PSRs am I rolling? And it's like I'd hit like 6 of them. And then my opponent would be like, oh, you forgot these 2.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, I can just put them on the ground, man. Like,
I'll just lay them down now.
Yeah. Speaking of laying on the ground, next one, facing after fall table is deleted.
No.
Next always fall, facing their current facing.
I was so... Actually, do the second one to go into this because it does tie in, and then I've got a quick story about that.
I'm sad. I'm sad that the facing after fall's been deleted. Because I memorized it. I memorized the table, and now it's worthless.
The second part of this is damage from a fall is applied to the rear only on a 1d6 roll of 1 instead of where you have to like do the count around the hex and be like, okay, the top front one is 1, so then it would be rear is 4, and then 4 out of the 6 are side tables. And I was like, why? So
I'll tell you, after a 6-hour grinder where we use these rules, by the end of it, I love these new falling. Like I was sad about them. I liked the other ones. By the time we got to the end, like especially the new players, it just made sense. For the old players, like we finally got into the rhythm of doing it. It was just faster. It didn't take anything away from it. You still had like right and left torso damage because that's just how the
fall works. Like
that's how damage works. Like you still have to roll to see where it hits, and then the damage on the rear is just on a 1. Like it worked, and it was fast, and it was still fun. I went from being sad about it to I think this is great. I really, really like this change.
I'm glad that playing it can change opinions. So here's the next one. I mean, we've talked a lot about seatbelt checks. So seatbelt checks no longer add damage to the mech, terrain modifiers, etc. to the PSR. So no more of that. Okay, what did I just roll?
Right. The PSR, the seatbelt check is no longer the exact number of the PSR that you rolled. Yeah.
Your cockpit seatbelt is standardized.
Almost. There is a modifier to it.
Oh, what's that?
How many levels you fell.
Oh.
It happened. It was important.
I know. You just our games played example.
Yeah. So yeah, on most cases it's just a straight PSR, but if you fall off a cliff, it's 1 for every extra level that you fell.
All right, so that was all the PSR section. That is our highlights from initiative, movement, shooting, I should say, combat or ranged attack phase, and then physical attack phase, heat, and then PSRs. I think that's where we're going to cut the content, like reading for tonight. How do we feel now?
Again, all the changes are basically clarifications and taking the same rule. Like none of these rules are changed. Like really, they're just clarified, and it just makes the game faster. So for all the ones that we've covered, I liked all of them. Like I've used them now. I've used them for a few hours. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I think for me, we've gone through a bunch of like, here's all the parts in your leg. Here's all the parts in your hand. This is what happens when they're damaged. And it's like, you read those and it's like, what masochist was there? Like, okay, all of this one breaks your arm. This one breaks your elbow. This completely like takes you out of the combat. Like, give me a little something, guys, for a reason to keep playing. Like once my shoulder goes out or something. These just keep me playing longer and happier, moving my little mechs around, making pew pew noises more.
Yeah. And we had a lot of fun at that grinder, which is just, that's the goal. The goal is even when your mechs are taking damage, you still feel relevant. You're not a Clint with one leg laying on the ground for 4 hours. You contribute in a meaningful way for the entire battle. You might have a bad time. You might have a few unlucky rolls, but you can still have a chance of getting up and continue to fight. And that's it. It's really important. I mean, you're in a war machine. You shouldn't just be legged and that's it. You're out of the battle. That's not very war machine like.
No, and I think the big thing for me here is a lot of the changes are natural conclusions to what you think should have been happening in the first place. A couple of the rules we covered today that were omitted, I'll admit I didn't know there were rules in the first place because I had never used them before. So this is no loss to me, right? This does not fundamentally change my BattleTech experience. But I think for newer players, I think for a lot of these things, it's going to be a nice change of pace. And we're kind of echoing a lot of what we talked about when we did these playtest rule coverage. Right? When we covered the stuff in the playtest rules, this is not identical to what was in the playtest. Some stuff changed, but a lot of it was adopted or in, at least in that same direction. And
I can't wait to do deep dives for this stuff. I cannot wait.
It's going to be a ton of fun, and I'm excited to do it, and I'm excited to learn more because apparently, based on my reading, I didn't know Jack Squad to start. I can't believe that I didn't. Yeah, maybe I'm just not noticing some changes, but I don't know. I felt like I'm like, man, is that really how that was supposed to work originally? So
RTFM, man, RTFM.
Yeah, Total Warfare was kind of a mess. So no,
it didn't want to be read.
The book actively fought you. But no, I'm excited for this. I like almost all the changes and the ones that what I objected to that were extremely superficial, like the fall down table chart. I mean, come on, that's not a real objection. I mean, this is not.
And honestly, really, once you play a few times, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, I like this. This is actually, it just works better.
Yeah, I'm excited. This is coming from where I was hobby wise not that long ago, just a couple weeks ago, when I would look at my models on my desk and just be repulsed. Right, I didn't want anything to do with it. Getting my hands on the book and looking at it and going through it. It has started to kind of kick that furnace back into action. I'm starting to, hey, maybe I'll think about trying some of this. This is kind of cool. Oh, that makes a lot of sense. So it's kind of revitalizing that fervor, which is good for me. So I'm excited, and I'm excited to cover the rest of the stuff in a future episode. Because
I can't wait either.
Yeah, there's a lot of changes here that we got to cover. So it'll be good.
This was just us doing the like, all right, read through. What do we need to play? Yeah. Like just the average game, like not new tech, not how that works. It's like if I'm playing a new person, like, hey, this is how it is now.
Well, I can't wait to talk about the weapon changes. I'm excited.
Yeah, we're all excited. That's why they're getting their own episode. We're gonna spend hours just talking about.
I can't wait.
One weapon system.
Heavy plasma.
Honestly,
yeah,
a little underwhelming.
But we'll talk about that
next time. Actually, maybe not next time. Maybe the time after next time.
At some time.
Soon, TM.
All right. Well, I think that we can call that for the night. Steve Denham, thank you for coming on to talk about core BattleTech. If you had told me when we started this podcast, hey, you're going to be around for the next edition of BattleTech Rules, I would have been like, no, I will not. Because that's not going to happen.
I mean, if this is considered a next edition, like...
I mean, in BattleTech form.
Yeah, but if you're talking about like Warhammer, this would just be an errata page for Warhammer. That's all this entire book would just be an errata.
I know. Warhammer's gone through 3 whole editions since we started this podcast.
Since we started this podcast, not the podcast, but this particular episode, it's been through 3 entire
new editions. Also, half your models are invalid. Sorry.
Yeah. But, gentlemen, thank you for coming on tonight. And listeners, thank you for listening to our first initial impressions of BattleTech Core.
Woohoo.
If you want to discuss the new core changes or anything else about BattleTech, feel free to join us on the Discord. Get into that conversation, and you'll see some of the cool stuff people are working on and hear their thoughts on the new rules as well. If you've got questions or a list for us to review, please feel free to email us at themechbaypodcast@gmail.com.